what stands out about Clemson as you started this prep and now going into bowl season?
Yeah, I mean it's an offense that understands what they want to be, and they've got really talented running backs, a quarterback that wait, that's on me. There we go.
I mean, we'll start that one over.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we good? Or is it
We're good.
do we still have BBN tonight? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good offense, and they were obviously when you have a changeover at coordinator, right? You have to kind of get into a groove and find yourself, and they've done that. And the two running backs are really, really talented players. They stand out. Their ability to get downhill, their ability in the passing game, sort of a short passing game. Not only do they run the ball really efficiently, both zone and gap scheme, really do a nice job with their GT. The O-linemen, work together well, but then they spread that ball out, really more horizontally, really get you spread out. They can get the ball out fast, they can go screens, but then when they need to, they can push it vertical. Again, the quarterback makes a lot of plays happen with his legs as well. I don't know if he gets enough credit for how athletic he is. You see him pull away from some guys when he's scrambling, so you've got to do a nice job understanding pocket control. He makes some plays on third down, extending plays, and so we've got to do a good job with that. Obviously, we face some quarterbacks and that have made some plays on third down, so we've got to sort of glean from that in the past and get off.
Is tempo big bang in the film? It seems like a top 10 play per game.
Yeah, it's really interesting is the pace of play isn't necessarily like the crazy speed. Now they do have tempo, don't get me wrong, but they're just consistently above sort of average in terms of pace. The ball, time of when it gets snapped. I sort of consider tempo right around that. If it's 20 or plus more on the play clock, that is tempo. And they're hovering around that. It's not like they're sitting there at the 31, 32, just rocket speed type pace. But they're just consistent in terms of, they get to the line, they're efficient, they make a check with me if they need it, and then they're off and running. So they understand what to do. So they end up getting a lot of plays. They're also really efficient in terms of churning out drives, and so we've got to do a good job of handling that. Being able to create multiple looks at times, but not get ourselves in bad situation when they do want to snap it quick.
In this day and age of college football, how hard is it to kind of scout these teams with all the opt-outs and the transfer portal and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, there's some of that you have to do, and every team has to do it. When you go into a bowl game, and certain guys that maybe they had throughout the season aren't there, for the bowl game, but that's part of it. But offensively, more specific on their team, they're pretty much intact. Obviously there's a receiver and a tight end that it does not look like they'll be there at the bowl game, but for the most part, their offense is intact, their offensive line is intact, quarterback, running back. So, the other one I didn't mention, the tight end, number 9, is really impressive. I think athletically, obviously, Brock Bowers is kind of in a league of his own, but from a tight end that we faced all year, I think athleticism-wise, what he does in the pass game is as good as, we faced, outside of Brock. So, that dimension, can really open up, especially in the red zone.
You guys lose Trevor in the draft. Just how do you feel about the depth at that second level going into the offseason?
Well, the nice thing is you don't have to play games in the offseason. So it's a long way till next September. The thing that we have to worry about is December 29th. And then once we hit December 30th, you hit the pause button a little bit and you look at what you have. Obviously, tomorrow is a really exciting day for everybody in the building. You sort of National Signing Day, get to understand what the future of your program will look like. But in this environment, it's sort of an ever-changing sort of roster environment. There's time, What the roster looks like on the 30th of December is probably not exactly what it'll look like, when we kick off August 31st. So we've got a long time before that starts. But yeah, so we'll address all aspects of the defense, from scheme, from personnel to depth, all those things.
Yesterday-
Clemson done. Seemed like he got a bunch of playing time against Louisville with Drew leaving. How big of a role in the bowl game and moving forward him on this defense?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I've kind of circled in terms of he's shown gradual improvement, and that's what you're looking for throughout the season. And I've been proud of him, because it hasn't always been easy since the time he stepped on campus to where he is right now. And hey, listen, for him to be a guy that helps take us to where we need to go, he needs to continue to push his game and his level, his understanding in this defense. But he has made significant strides since he's been here, and someone that I'm encouraged about in terms of what he can provide us in the future. Obviously, did some nice things in the Louisville game. Look forward to seeing him make some plays, hopefully on the 29th. And then again, once we hit the 30th of December, we'll sit back and we'll see, okay, what do we have and where's the best position for each one of these guys, and we'll go from there.
Brendan Bates said yesterday it is a surprise when guys hit the portal because they don't talk about it during the year. What were the conversations like with Trevin for him to make that decision right now?
Yeah, there's been obviously conversations once the game ended against Louisville, and then you get through the season and then you have to make some decisions, and obviously those are sort of closed door things that I don't need to discuss in public. And ultimately the decision that he felt was best for him, and we're supportive in all of our guys when they decide and they think that it's the best decision for them. We've got their back, and anything they need through the next process that they do, we're here for them. Right. And I think he's going to show really, really well for himself.
Right, we think of transfers as instant impact guys, but with Jansen or with Rayner, some of these guys that it takes some time to develop. How much do you look at that in the portal when you're recruiting guys, thinking this might be for the future, or are they all we need plug and play at this moment?
Yeah, you know what? I think each individual guy is different. If you're taking a young man that has multiple years, I think there's some that you take more of the long game approach with. Now, everybody wants instant success, and hey, listen, sometimes you can get a guy that has multiple years and he can walk right in and it's great. You look at Zion, for example, right? And it wasn't, pop in the microwave, instant popcorn. I mean, he said it after he started the Georgia game, and I think someone asked him in the media, hey, do you feel like you should have been playing more or starting earlier after his big game in Georgia when he had his first start last year? And he said, no, I needed to learn and grow to be ready for this moment. So now then there's other guys, when you think of Jaquez or Kedron or something that came in essentially from the jump, they were instant impact. So everybody's got a little bit sort of a different style. Obviously, if you only have sort of your one year, the idea is not to bring him in to sit there and develop, a one and done guy. You expect to come in and make an instant impact.
Brad, your kids have talked about looking forward to the challenge of playing sort of a brand name like Clemson, one of the established powers. How is that translated to the practice field?
Yeah, I think when you face somebody that's got a little bit of cachet, like a Clemson, there's a focus and understanding that there's a lot of pride in that program, and you better show up and play a really, really strong game, right, or you'll get embarrassed. And so it's been spirited practices, really like their enthusiasm. Never once so far have you felt like they're waiting to get out, they're waiting for Christmas, they can't wait for it to be done. It was funny, just a few minutes ago as practice ended, Max Harrison was like, hey, is that it? Like, yeah, practice is done. Like they're so engaged, it feels like it's going like that, and that's what you want. And so, no, and hopefully it translates. Obviously, we got another, need a quality day tomorrow, and then, you get down to the bowl site. You got to be crisp. You got to be ready. New environment. You're at a different practice field. You try to keep things, as similar as you can to a game week. But we talk about it all the time, right? It's the first game and it's the bowl game. You worry about tackling. You worry about all those kind of things, making sure communication's there. Conditioning, they've been off for so many weeks. Those first couple of drives will hit your lungs pretty hard. But then once that ball's kicked off and you make a couple of tackles, you get settled in and you remember, okay, this is what football's like.
Brad, following up on that, again, hear about the excitement from the players, but for you as a coach, I guess, how much is there just that little bit of extra excitement from me to play getting coaching and to play these games and coaching at programs like Clemson?
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter who, for me as a coach, it doesn't matter who we're playing. I get that same excitement, the same butterflies, the same nervousness. It doesn't matter, right? And but yeah, obviously, when you get to play in a bowl game and you get to see sort of the culmination of all the hard work they've put in, through the ups, through the downs. Coach talks about it. The last 2 weeks, right? Louisville and a bowl game. So the last 2 games we get to play this year both come with a trophy. And you want to be the ones freaking carrying the trophy off the field. And, we've gotten the first one, and now it's about getting the second. Because now the rest of the year, and I said last year was the first time since I've been here that we didn't. And you have to carry that throughout the entire offseason. And it's not a weight, it's not a burden that you like to carry. It's not a stigma that you want. So everybody understands that's been in this program, and then they've let the ones that know that haven't. Our standard is to go out there and win that game and be celebrating, at the end.
Talked so much about complementary football this year, and last year in the bowl game, the offense was shorthanded, obviously. With most of those weapons there, does it feel like, all right, there's a little different attitude going into this game where the defense doesn't have to pitch a shutout per se like last year because the offense just wasn't going to be there?
Yeah, here's a really loaded question.
It's the kind
No,
of,
I don't think the defense in any shape or fashion feels any different than last year. We went into last year, understanding that we were going up against a really good defense, and there was a chance it would be sort of a low-scoring affair, and it's the same thing here. They've got a really good defense on their side of the football. Obviously, we're extremely confident in what our offense can do and produce, but at any point, if you sort of let your guard down and say, okay, we're going to let the offense carry this thing, you're going to get a lot of points on you. And so the mindset is always and will always be here. And if it ever changes, those guys will not see the field, is the fact that we're going to step on the field with the mindset of defending every blade of grass on that field. And no point is acceptable. Now, are they going to score at times in a football season? Absolutely. But that's never the goal to say is, okay, they'll be all right. Offense will just pick us up. We know they're there, and we know that they're going to do a heck of a job. But if we could go in there and win by several touchdowns, and that would be the goal. We are fully aware that this thing's going to be a battle from start to finish, and so they better be prepared.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.